Support WrestleTalk!
Hello, shut up. We're already starting. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and these are the 10 wrestling news stories from this week that you might have missed. But before we carry on, make sure you subscribe, or we'll get you. Pete will get you. Pete will get you. Number 1, Randy Orton gone from WWE for a while. Randall Keith Orton has been putting out some of WWE's finest content as of late, being the straight man in the RK Bro tag team. Fortunately for him, the duo lost the tag belts to Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Tree Trunk Otis. That's what they're calling him now, if you didn't know. Tree Trunk. Orton and Riddle quickly recovered by winning a spelling bee. Alright, but the following week, Riddle took on Gable in a scooter race and Orton was nowhere to be found. Apparently, that is going to be the case for a little bit. According to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, he was told that Orton was going to be gone for a while and that he didn't know why or when he'd be back. I guess the spelling bee was just a bit too much for him to handle. He can only spell one word. It's RKO. In all seriousness, though, I hope all is well with Randy. Number 2, lack of respect in WWE's locker room. Sticking with Orton, who has now been in WWE for 20 bloody years. Congratulations, by the way. He recently spoke with Ariel Helwani, where he mentioned his perceived dwindling respect in the WWE locker room. When I first came into the business, that level of respect was apparent. What I see now is guys kind of get the contract, go put in some time at NXT, and this isn't everybody, but you see the general attitude coming out of NXT is like, all right, I'm here, where's my stuff, where's my music? You have to respect everybody that you're in there with. If I'm out in the ring with you, I have to be able to know that you're going to put my body first and you're going to protect me in everything that you're doing. And you have to know that about me, and with that comes respect. And I just feel like sometimes now that level of respect has dwindled. I really wanted to do that in a old man yells at cloud kind of voice, but like fair enough. Number 3, WWE wishes CM Punk was in the Rumble. It's the week after the Royal Rumble, and do you remember before it when everyone was going wild with conspiracy theories, Forbidden Door, saying Cody Rhodes would be in it, Jon Moxley, CM Punk? Glad all those definitely happened. In all fairness to some fans, Punk had taken to Twitter in the lead up to the Rumble, teasing that he might be there, asking Dave Meltzer if he was penciled in the Rumble. Speaking to Abe Cannon, Punk spoke about the trolling. From my perspective, when I left, that's what it was every year. This is the first year they had the Royal Rumble that I have been back in wrestling, but I work somewhere else, and people were still making that up. I get it. People want to be excited about it, but if you want to watch us, watch AEW. That's what Twitter is for. It's a cesspool and garbage, and I want to delete it off my phone, but every once in a while, it's a ray of sunshine and fun stuff. And he's right, of course. Twitter is a box. Number 4, Riho's injury. Poor Riho. It seems just as a Japanese star was gaining some traction in AEW, feuding with Britt Baker and winning people over once again, it's been confirmed she's had an injury after she had already missed a year of AEW due to COVID-19 and travel restrictions. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer confirmed that Riho had broken her collarbone and is expected to be out for 3 months. The injury took place during Battle of the Belts in a match against Britt Baker, though it's currently unknown which spot exactly led to it. However, it was noted that the injury took place early in the match, yet Riho never asked for the match to finish early because she's insane, apparently. Best of luck, Riho. Hope to see you back in the ring soon. Number 5, Jeff Hardy passed drug test. In one of the more crazy wrestling stories from this week, we got a continuation of the Jeff Hardy saga that started late last year. Following a WWE house show where Hardy was reported to be acting strangely and tried to leave the match halfway through, going through the crowd, no less, WWE released Jeff from his contract after he reportedly turned down rehab. Hardy has a long and documented history with substance abuse, and this seemed like another instance of him struggling with his demons. However, after this came out, his brother Matt Hardy said that Jeff was happy and healthy and people shouldn't be worried. Now Matt has revealed on a Twitch stream that Jeff had his WWE drug test results come back and they were all negative, and he's clean. It was also reported that Jeff turned down the option to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and Matt spoke on the issue on the stream, saying he addressed it with me, and as he was saying, he knew at that point working for WWE is a very stressful job. It's all good, but it's also a very stressful environment. Anyone who has worked there knows that. I feel Jeff was stressed out in many ways about several things, and he confessed to me that when he went over the guardrail, he knew he was done. He was literally done with the match, and he felt done. I guess good on Jeff for leaving a stressful environment. This whole situation's weird. Number 6, Mojo Rawley nearly died from COVID, and in a stark reminder of our current global situation news story of the week, former WWE star Mojo Rawley was released from WWE in April last year, recently revealed that he's returning to wrestling. That's good. What's less good, though, is him also revealing exactly why it's taken him so long, as he hasn't wrestled a match since June 2020. On Instagram, he said,
I've been asked a ton about when I'm coming back to wrestling or if I'm officially retired, so let me go ahead and answer that now. About 19 months ago, I got COVID extremely badly. I had to go to the hospital. I almost died. and my lungs were just in really bad shape. So much so that in the beginning, I couldn't have any extra pressure on my lungs or else it would suffocate me. I couldn't even speak for days on end because I couldn't get enough air in to talk. Maybe the scariest part of the whole thing was the fact that the doctors had no idea what to say because it was so new. But fast forward 19 months later, and I'm not quite 100%, but I'm getting pretty close. My training has been kicked up and I'm feeling good enough to announce officially that I'm coming back to wrestling, baby. COVID thought it got me, but it must have forgot. I stay hyped.
Hell yeah, good for you. Number 7, the juice is loose, with contracts, and in particular contract expirations, being all the rage in wrestling news for the last several months. There's been a pretty big one that's now expired from the land of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Juice Robinson, former New Japan United States champion, is now reportedly a free agent according to Fightful Select. His contract expired as of January 31st and no new deal has been agreed with the company. In recent months, Juice has been competing on the American side of their programming, so he's already in North America and ready to compete at any other North American promotion that might want him. Yet another name to add to the huge list of super crazy good free agents right now. Number 8, what's Sean McMahon doing in the Dynamite Zone? After the frankly ridiculous news of resident thumb Shane McMahon being essentially successioned out of WWE earlier this week, there was much speculation about his future and what he could do in the wrestling business from here, with many even suggesting, half jokingly, that he should replace Brian Kendrick in AEW after the latter was removed from Dynamite, and honestly, the less said about that, the better. Current AEW stars FTR and Joe Janela reached out to Shado on Twitter saying he should join them over there, and honestly, even if it's just for a cameo or a one-off, wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it? It would be funny. Like the Invasion. Can Stephanie be revealed to own New Japan in her little hat? Number 9, teachers were worried about Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio has been in a comfortable lower mid-card position on the main roster lately alongside his father Rey, which sounds ridiculous to say that Rey Mysterio is a lower mid-carder, but here we are. But of course his debut on the main roster in 2020 wasn't actually his debut, as he was featured heavily in the Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero feud back in 2005, even going so far as to be the main prize in a ladder match at SummerSlam that year. Dominic recently spoke with Robbie Fox, where he spoke on his classmates and teachers' reaction to him being featured in that story back in 2005. They would ask me if my home life was okay, if I was good. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, man. Like, I'm barely coming to school. I'm traveling with my dad. I'm this third grader just having the time of his life, not going to school half the time. But yeah, you know, the kids too, they would get a little annoying at times because they're like, who's your real dad, man? Is it Eddie or is it Ray? I'm like, dude, I think it's Ray. I'm pretty sure it's him. You know, I've known him since I was a kid. Can't tell if that's hilarious or sort of terrible. Maybe it's both. Also, his real dad is Eddie Guerrero. Number 10, Sami Zayn thrown out of Jackass premiere. And in the final news story of this week, continuing the Johnny Knoxville feud, Sami Zayn attended the premiere of Jackass Forever, but it didn't go all that well for him as he was chased off the red carpet by Knoxville holding a cattle prod. And Sami was a very angry boy on Twitter about it. And the whole thing, you know what? Good for Sami. He's just re-signed with WWE. He seems to be having a good time. And, like, he's going to movie premieres. Good for him, I suppose. And that's our list. What's been your favorite bit of wrestling news from this week? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you make WrestleTalk.com your homepage for up-to-the-minute wrestling news. And never forget to jam that jam.